Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, September 16th, 2021. I'm Keith Tebow. Traffic snafus have impacted homeowners and businesses near the new BMC Durfee High School. We hear from the candidates for mayor one last time prior to this Tuesday's preliminary election. We preview Monday's sentencing of former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correia, and we will recap last weekend's 9/11 ceremonies on the waterfront. All this and more coming up. The new BMC Durfee High School has been open for a week, but there's been traffic congestion along Ellsbury Street and President Avenue, impacting local businesses and residents each morning and mid-afternoon. During this week's City Council meeting, Arthur Allard, manager at Ferris Realty, which oversees the businesses at the CVS Plaza on President Street, said the congestion, combined with rude students and parents, have made the plaza unsafe for workers and patrons.
The traffic is backed up from Ellsbury Street all the way out to President Avenue, coming in also at CVS. In the afternoon, it gets better. All the parents come in. We counted 240 cars in our plaza parked, 45 minutes to an hour before classes let out so they can get parking up front. Not only every space is taken, but in between all the lanes, the streets, everything, it looked like a Patriots game getting out, but it's done more class with the Patriots game. To the point where people were calling the store, could not get into CVS to get their medicines. The kids come out and congregate so bad at Bank 5, they closed the bank. Could not get through the drive-through, a little bit of rain, all the kids standing under the canopy, nobody can go in or out of the bank. They leave our plaza, there's more trash than you can imagine. People waiting in their cars for their kids, clean their cars, and throw it right on the ground. What do we do about it? I stand out there, we close all the entrances to the plaza, and I stand there and just say, where are you coming? If you're going to be picking up children, please do it at the school. And at that point, that's when I get hit with the cars. They bump me to knock me out of the way. They're coming in. The vulgarity, the abuse is incredible.
Mayor Paul Coogan told us this morning plans are in place to alleviate traffic in the area, including utilizing the Driscoll Ice Rink parking lot for parents to park instead of the CVS Plaza.
I think within the next few days you'll see some changes up there. We're also going to find a way to access the Ray Street lot so people can walk down. Initially that was going to be very difficult because we don't want teenagers and parents walking through a construction site, but I think we can fix it. The beginning of school up there, for every single year I had ever been there, was always hectic until people find the best place to drop off their students and the best place to pick them up. It was a shakedown phase every year I was at Durfee for the first week or two, and this was no different. It was just that we didn't have the second entrance. I was noting that people were dropping their kids off on New Boston Road the other day, over near where I live at the corner of Oak Grove and New Boston Road, and kids were walking up Moore Street and then they're right on the campus. So parents will, find a spot that's convenient for their children and themselves to meet up before and after school, and that's what's going to happen for the next, week or so. But the fixes we put in, I think, will alleviate some of the stresses going forward, and hopefully we can get back to finishing the project, get the old Durfee down and get some new roads in, and then we'll have no issues at all.
Mayor Coogan says once the entire construction project is complete, there will be additional drop-off points located to the west of the Durfee campus. Fall River's preliminary election, featuring the race for mayor, takes place on Tuesday. Election Commission Chairwoman Kelly Susie Young says her office is ready for Election Day, but she's unsure how many people will come out to vote.
So right now there is no changes to the precincts. Every precinct is open. The polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. I was just discussing with my staff. It's been very quiet for this election. I'm not sure how to handle that because we're always really busy because we're getting a lot of calls, and for this election we haven't really gotten too many except to get an application.
Susie Young says those with absentee or no excuse mail ballots must return them to the elections office by Tuesday at 8 p.m. If you have any questions on where to vote on Tuesday, you can call the elections office at 508-324-2630. The second mayoral debate of the preliminary election season saw the two frontrunners accuse each other of not being responsive to the people of Fall River. Incumbent Mayor Paul Coogan, City Council President Cliff Ponte, and challenger Jonathan Albernaz took part in the debate last Friday, sponsored by WHTB Radio. Challenger Michael Vandal was not in attendance. The event turned out to be a referendum on the record of both Mayor Coogan and Councilor Ponte. On the matter of public safety, Ponte accused the mayor of not having a plan to grow the ranks of the police department in the face of an increase in crime.
We have issues when it comes to public safety. We need more police officers on our streets right now. And as chief executive officer like the mayor is, you should be working with our police chief right now to get police officers on our streets. That means that you make sure you have and you reorganize the department. That's in my public safety plan. Reorganize the department and add more police officers on our streets. I don't know if you've spoke to a police officer lately, Mr. Mayor, because they're burnt out and they're not feeling supported. And we need to stand behind them. They are burning the midnight oil like we've never seen before. We need to stand behind them because the community deserves safe streets, and they deserve to feel comfortable leaving their homes or their apartments, feeling safe. But how do we do that when we don't have enough police officers and no plan to address it? 214 police officers is what we have in Fall River right now. Back in 2009, we had 250. Our goal needs to be 245. I would love to hear what the mayor's goal is about having more police officers on the streets. Haven't heard from it yet. I have one, and I've explained my points, and I'll continue to.
Mayor Coogan responded by accusing Ponte of being absent following the shooting this past spring that resulted in the death of two Fall River residents in Corky Row. One note, the video you were about to see has been edited to remove the simultaneous Portuguese translation.
When we had a horrible tragedy, Cliff was nowhere to be found. He didn't go to the neighborhood meeting at Corky Row, and I haven't seen him at any of the events in Griffin Park this summer. The residents of Griffin Park, or the ones that surround it, are thankful that the police have stepped up and done what they're supposed to do to keep a lid on that area, and we're working to try to do that around the city. But the policeman I talked to literally asked me, how could he vote against checking the addresses of sex offenders if he wants to keep the children and residents safe? And that's what the police tell me.
Albernaz told the debate audience that he feels an increase in crime can be attributed to the influx of undocumented immigrants in Fall River. Again, this video was edited to remove the simultaneous Portuguese translation.
Illegal immigrants coming from multiple countries around the world, some of which is from South America. Some of these individuals, most of these individuals, are not committing crimes, but some of them are committing violent crimes. Now, regarding to what degree of this, I cannot provide any information on that. That is something that I will rely on the police department to get a fair assessment of the situation. However, there is a problem, and it is on the rise here in Fall River. As I spent time in front of multiple stores at multiple locations throughout the city, I have talked with many of these people, and some I could not chat with directly because of language barriers. So yes, I have talked to individuals that are not legally here in this country. For those who are here on refuge from hostile nations like Venezuela, I believe it is fine in that they look to the United States as a place of refuge. But it is unfair to all the individuals who immigrated here from other countries legally, like those from Portugal.
Ponte and Coogan also sparred over the format of the debate, with Ponte accusing the mayor of seeking to shorten the debate after the candidates agreed to a 2-hour format.
We have issues and we still need to talk about them. So if the mayor has to leave, that's fine. But I'd be happy to debate Mr. Albanese for the final half hour if he would like.
I would like to say something. The paper I have in front of me says you proposed a 90-minute debate. Now, maybe Frank got that wrong, but I did go with 90 minutes as you suggested. So I have no idea what you're talking about now unless you're accusing Frank of typing the wrong numbers in there.
Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, you actually called today to try to cancel this debate, and you wanted to move it to next week. So I'm ready to have a debate to discuss the issues facing Fall River until 8 o'clock. I will sit here until 8 o'clock. If everybody else leaves, that's fine, but I'm ready to speak about the issues facing Fall River tonight, right now.
Let's make one thing clear. I did not call to cancel the debate, and maybe Mr. Albanese will tell you exactly what happened. I was watching TV this morning, and they were accusing us of leaving people off the stage. I sent Frank an email, and I called Mr. Albanese. And I made sure that all the participants could participate, and we used Cliff's number of 90. Now, maybe he wants to change it tonight because for whatever reason he feels that that's how you make an arrangement with somebody. I'll change it because I feel like it. My position was I trusted Frank that we were going to do 90 minutes. We were following Mr. Pont's suggestion, unless he's alleging that something's wrong here, but I don't think so. So we went to 90 minutes, and that's where we are.
Over the last 3 weeks, we shared the statements from the mayoral candidates as part of our Meet the Candidates program. We have heard from Jonathan Albanese and Mayor Coogan. Candidate Michael Vandal did not participate. This week, we hear from City Council President Cliff Ponte.
Hello, my name is Cliff Ponte, and I'm a candidate for mayor in this upcoming election scheduled for September 21st. This campaign for mayor is about the future of Fall River, our city. That future can be bright. It can be vibrant and create new opportunities to our residents in every neighborhood. Fall River's future can have great schools, safe streets, and a strong economy with a thriving waterfront and successful local businesses. I say can because there is no guarantee to any of this. Fall River's future can be great, but it will take work and it will take planning. In my personal businesses, we plan for success. Then we work to make it happen. Too often in city government, there is an expectation that success will just happen through a strong desire to see it, and that is not enough. The current administration does not have a plan for the future. The last 2 years have been governed by fire and ambush, and Fall River expects more. I have drafted my plan, which you can see by going to cliffponteformayor.com. My plan and vision is a culmination of countless conversations that I've had with residents across Fall River about what needs to be done and how we're going to do it. This plan is just the beginning, the first steps on our journey for a brighter future. With this plan, I hope to show the residents of our city that a brighter, better future is not just poetry, but it is possible. The people of Fall River should expect more of our government. We should expect real goals that can be measured. We should expect a mayor who will hold city department heads accountable. Accountability that can only happen by articulating our goals and examining the progress we make in achieving it. Anything else could just be accidental. As we move forward in the history of Fall River, this campaign moves forward with a vision for the future, a stamina for the present, and a knowledge of the past. We will accomplish great things, face great challenges, and lift our city up, as in the words of President John Kennedy, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. In closing, I would like you to know, as your mayor, every decision we make will put you, the citizens, first. We will govern with lean, competent, and effective departments. We'll make clean streets and safe neighborhoods a priority. We'll work to turn our underperforming school system around and improve MCAS scores and student growth. And above all else, we will utilize thorough analysis and research before making decisions. I ask for your vote on Tuesday, September 21st, and promise you and your family nothing but my very best.
Before you vote, check out our Election 2021 website at frmedia.org/election 2021 to watch both mayoral preliminary election debates and the candidate statements from our Meet the Candidates program. They will also air through the weekend on Channel 95. We'll be working with our colleagues at Fall River Government Television to provide coverage of the preliminary election results. Join us Tuesday beginning at 8 p.m. on FRCmedia Channel 95 and on our Facebook page. We'll have a complete wrap-up of the election next week. Coming up on Monday, former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correia will learn what his sentence will be on his convictions on 21 federal charges of fraud and extortion. Both the prosecution and defense this week laid out their recommendations of a sentence to be considered by U.S. District Court Judge Douglas Woodlock. Prosecutors are looking for Correia to serve 11 years in prison, followed by 2 years of supervised probation. They also seek nearly $300,000 in restitution for Snow Owl investors, $20,000 for the IRS, and over $566,000 in forfeiture, along with a mandatory special fine of $2,100. The defense is looking for a 3-year prison term with 3 years of supervised probation. They are also open to unspecified mandatory restitution and forfeiture. Local attorney Stephen Sabra says the first step to Monday's sentencing may be deciding on a motion by Correia to throw out the convictions.
It looks to me like what the judge will have to do, first of all, is sort out and rule on the defense motion for acquittal or, in the alternative, a motion for new trial. And the grounds of those pleadings, those motions, essentially are that the government didn't prove all the elements of the crimes of wire fraud and the tax charges. And the other part of their motion for acquittal, or more appropriately, the motion for new trial, is this issue of that, well, it's called misjoinder, and why the two kind of separate cases, if you will, the Snow Owl case and the marijuana related charges, why they were tried together. Now, once that's done, once the judge rules on that, then you get to the sentencing part.
Sabra says regardless of the sentence, it's likely the former mayor will not leave the courtroom in handcuffs.
Once he pronounces sentence, then the next issue, and you usually see this in the federal court, is whether or not, assuming there'll be some type of a jail term, whether the defendant goes to jail right then and there, which is more often seen in the state system. But in the federal system, oftentimes the sentence is stayed and another date is set for him to turn himself in to a particular location. And in the meantime, between the time of the sentence being pronounced and the time of the defendant having to report, the Bureau of Prisons will assess the defendant as to where he ought to go.
Both the prosecution and defense supplied the judge with letters from victims and Correia associates in support of their positions. Attorney Sabra says it's possible some of those may be allowed to speak in court next week. When it comes to Correia addressing Judge Woodlock, his lack of remorse throughout and after the trial will likely keep him silent.
His position is, I would think, that I'm young. If I get jail time, I'll do my jail time. I've seen other public officials be convicted of charges and still come back and won elections. I don't want to admit anything. And the other part of it is that he's filed a motion for new trial. He's filed a notice of appeal. So I don't think that that's something that we ought to expect. And by that I mean I don't think we can expect the defendant to get up and say, I'm sorry, I apologize to the citizens of Fall River or any of that. I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening. What I see happening is this case going on appeal, and his hope is that there'll be some, reversal of convictions on appeal or some order of a new trial.
Stay with FRCmedia for our coverage of the sentencing next Monday on our website and a recap on this show next week. The City of Fall River will receive a $2 million grant over the next 4 years to aid in addressing the issues of substance abuse and behavioral health within the city and surrounding communities. The program will focus on preventing and reducing opioid overdoses by training first responders in the use of overdose reversal drugs, such as Narcan, and working with community and medical partners in adding recovery coaches to connect those with substance abuse problems to treatment. Nikki Fontaine, Street Outreach Coordinator for the Fall River Police Department and in recovering herself, says those in need of substance abuse services and treatment are not defined by location.
This grant is a huge victory for Fall River, Swansea, Somerset, and Westport. Small towns are famous for suffering in silence, just as I did growing up in Dayton. It's a known fact that people living in these towns are coming to Fall River to get their drugs, but they also come here to seek recovery. This grant will now give us the ability to work together to save lives and break down that invisible barrier of a town line. We can't afford to wait until someone finds the motivation to seek help. We need to bring the help directly to their doorstep, to the tent cities, and do it with understanding and compassion. It's no secret that detoxes and shelters are so overrun and understaffed right now, so having a BMC clinician in the police station, alongside coaches from STAR and River to Recovery, will give us the ability to clear patients who suffer with co-occurring disorders, bypass emergency rooms, and streamline all types of treatment across the board.
Partners on the project include STAR, Boston Medical Center, Compassionate Healthcare Group, River to Recovery, and Recover Fall River. STAR Chief Operating Officer Patricia M. Salem says her organization will expand its services to help those with substance abuse problems transition to a plan of treatment.
When someone survives an overdose, that is a uniquely teachable moment for the individual and those who love them. STAR wants to be able to offer help with a full range of treatment options at that moment when the person and family are most receptive to change. In addition to the full range of treatment currently available, inpatient, outpatient medications like Vivitrol, Suboxone, Methadone, we have received federal certified community behavioral health clinic funds to open a post-overdose monitoring and observation unit. This will be a resource for first responders who can bring people post-overdose who aren't ready to commit to inpatient treatment but need a safe place to be comfortable and medically monitored while they learn about treatment options and talk to recovery coaches. This unit is expected to open in the late fall. It can accommodate up to 6 people at a time and will allow for greater safety post-overdose, as well as reduce the burden on our local hospital emergency departments.
Training in the program will begin with first responders later on this fall. Now the update on the COVID-19 pandemic in Fall River. Here are the latest case and vaccination numbers as of last Thursday, September 9th. There were 181 new cases of COVID-19 in Fall River last week, up from 189 the week before. The city now has 15,404 cases confirmed since the beginning of the pandemic. On the vaccine front, 50,680 residents, or 57%, have received at least one dose of the vaccine, with 45,421, or 51%, fully vaccinated. There'll be another set of vaccination clinics this weekend to be held at Stop and Shop on Rodman Street. Hours are Friday from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. All getting vaccinated will receive a $25 gift card. The clinic is free and no appointment is necessary. You can also find out where to get the vaccine at frvax.com or by calling 833-8VAX-NOW, 833-882-9669. You can also visit the state's website at vaxfinder.mass.gov. You can also dial 211. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, I'm Pamela Martin from Fall River Government Television.
And I'm Keith Tebow from Fall River Community Media.
Join us as we track election results for Fall River preliminary election on Tuesday, September 21st.
Our live coverage starts at 8 o'clock as we bring you election results from all 29 city precincts.
And we'll be canvassing the city all day, as well as making stops at the candidates' headquarters.
You can watch our coverage on FRG-TV Channel 18, FRC Media Channel 95, and on Facebook. We hope you can join us.
And as always, please make a plan to get out and vote.
Welcome back. Fall River joined the rest of the country last Saturday to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Battleship Cove serves as the home of the official 9/11 memorial of those from Massachusetts who perished.
The memorials that have been erected across the country, including the one before us today, serve as a place for us as a nation to grieve and to remember those we have lost. But they also serve as a way for us to teach new generations about the horrors of the attack and the strength, the sacrifices, and the core values that have defined us as a people in their wake. Today we gather here to do that, to remember those we have lost, to recognize the bravery and heroism of the first responders who heeded the call, and to remember those who have suffered the long-lasting health effects from the exposure to the toxic dust and fumes. As we look back on that day 20 years ago, despite the changes home and abroad, memories have not faded. We owe it to those lost, to everyone who responded to the calls for help that day and after, and to our future generations to never forget. Memorials like this one here and like this event today will ensure that we never do.
Also last Saturday, the Visitor Center building at Heritage State Park was dedicated in the memory of Fall River native, war hero, and Medal of Honor recipient, Captain Thomas Hudner.
As a native of Fall River, the city of course had special meaning for my father. The positive character traits that he was known for throughout his life were instilled by his family from birth and fostered by his community of peers and adults. Later in life, the act he became known for, his Medal of Honor action in Korea, an attempt to save his downed wingman, who happened to be the first black naval aviator, did not represent a departure from the norm, but in fact had its roots in his childhood. My grandfather taught my dad that a person's character and importance are not determined by their skin color, background, or income. Treating others with respect and dignity was second nature for Dad.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please check out our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and information, as well as our special Election 2021 webpage. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a good weekend. Make sure to vote on Election Day, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Hi, I'm Pamela Martin from Fall River Government Television.
And I'm Keith Tebow from Fall River Community Media.
Join us as we track election results for Fall River preliminary election on Tuesday, September 21st.
Our live coverage starts at 8 o'clock as we bring you election results from all 29 city precincts.
And we'll be canvassing the city all day, as well as making stops at the candidates' headquarters.
You can watch our coverage on FRGTV Channel 18, FRC Media Channel 95, and on Facebook. We hope you can join us.
And as always, please make a plan to get out and vote.